All right, friends, I'm Jay McNeil. This is a how-to, how to create a class using the Be Kind Humans universe. That's bekindhumans.com. So if you go there, it might look a little different as we continue to sort of rebrand and rebuild website content. But bekindhumans.com, find the way to join, select the way to do that. If you're a faith leader, and you probably are going to be one if you're teaching a class, this is the path for general members. Look for the way to join as a faith leader. When you decide how you're going to join, go ahead and click that button. There'll be some monthly commitment. You'll create an account. Okay? And then when you get to the inside, it'll look something like this. When I click on the all members area or global feed, everybody has a personalized feed. Okay. If I collapse all of these folders on the side where the little arrow is, toggles pointing down and toggles pointing to the right. It's collapsed when it's pointing to the right. It expands when it's pointing down. So this all member area, neighborhood, or collection, all those terms are interchangeable, contain these 4 spaces. Yeah. Member dashboard, Be Doing Faith podcast, the coffee shop. I used to have a podcast called the Coffee Pot Fellowship. This is a coffee shop. Okay. And then there's a gift shop or Shopee. So if I click on member dashboard, either over there, or if I'd have clicked on it here, same result, opens up the member dashboard. This is everybody who's a paying member has access to this all member area. So a lot of events are going to take place in the coffee shop. There's going to be a lot of content on the member dashboard. So these are the places you want to stay tuned into and pay attention to. I'm going to collapse that for now. So we're going to go down to this courses area, and everything showing right now when this is collapsed is just a label. It's a shell or a container. That area, that neighborhood, the folder, it's just it in and of itself is not anything except for the label for that container. But inside of the container for courses is where I want people to build courses. Inside the container for groups is where we're going to put, you guessed it, groups. Inside the Find Faith Leaders folder, you know what we're going to do there? Be able to find individual faith leaders. Find faith communities, and non-faith communities, and faith leaders, non-faith leaders, right? So we may have atheist or humanist leaders that I'm using those terms kind of loosely because I think that everybody has faith in something. It doesn't mean faith in God or religion, or it doesn't have to be overtly theological, right? And then there's going to be this area that's invisible to most people unless you are a faith leader. Faith leaders will have access to this faith leaders only content if you come in, as I suggested, as a faith leader and not just a general public member. This topic area may go away because we use hashtags now to label and find things and search items. And this moods thing is kind of a new exploration that I've created. It may or may not continue to exist. So we're focusing on courses today. You can pause this video or go back. You can speed it up if you need to, but I'm going to try and keep moving quickly. And so you can pause it if you need to slow down or revisit something. Okay, courses. To add a course, you're going to click on either of these 3 dots and create space, or you can come up here and click on this settings button when you're inside of the courses folder. And this button for create space. And it'll show you a variety of templates, which are just meant to give you a little bit of a jump forward if you're totally lost and don't know what you're doing. The only thing that choosing one of these other templates does is turns on certain features automatically. Okay. If you choose build your own in the top left-hand corner, they will all be off and you will turn on the features that you want specifically. I almost always use this build your own and just turn on what I want, whatever makes sense. You're going to tailor your space the way you want it to be. Just as an exploration, you can see there are actually two course templates, a cohort course and a content course. The difference between them is what is prioritized. A cohort course prioritizes the relationships and interactions. It means that you're learning from other people in the class as much as you're learning from the teacher or the actual presented course, didactic course content. Sort of a pedagogical, philosophical argument about pedagogy. The content course means that the default landing page is going to be the course content, right? What is being taught explicitly, right? So if you have an on-demand course, it's probably going to be what they're calling a content course. If this is a little confusing, I will explain when there's something to point to. So I chose the build your own. I'm going to name this space. So the class, let's make up a class. Let's pretend we're going to read the Bible in Hebrew. I'm going to teach you how to read the Bible, well, the Hebrew Bible, in Hebrew. Space tagline. Yeah, you can do this. Okay. That's not a great tagline, by the way. But there are some places where if you publish, you share the link to advertise this, it will grab this as a, right, it'll place this content right underneath the heading or title. The collection is that neighborhood area folder collection that I was telling you about. So because we're in the courses folder, it says, do you want this space to go into this collection or a different collection? Okay, so there was the all members area, there's a visitors area, there's my area, there's groups, courses, finding faith leaders, finding faith communities, find faith leaders only, topics and moods. Right, so those are all the collections right now. Put courses in the courses section, which sounds snotty or dumb, but you may have a separate ministry area. As a practice, you might make an exception for something. You can turn on this feature that is used primarily for courses inside of your ministry space. But right now you can only have one course there. So I suggest putting all of your courses over here in the courses area. And if you want to link to all of your courses from inside of your ministry page, there are excellent ways to do that. And that's what I suggest. You can link from your ministry, your personal space. If you have a ministry space inside Kind Humans Universe with us, you can link from there to your specific courses. Even if they're secret courses, which we're about to discuss, that nobody else can see, I would still put your courses in the courses area. Okay? If you want to use your courses to promote your ministry space in Kind Humans, then you can link from the course to the ministry space as well. There's a back and forth that's very easy and natural. It may seem really complicated, but you can bind them together so people just jump through a portal, right? It's a link from one place to the other. They are tied and connected by those links. And it will be very intuitive if you set that up in semi-intelligent ways. Okay, so even if your course is private and nobody can see it, right? If your privacy setting is secret, your choices are private, public, and secret. Okay? If you choose the privacy setting of secret, then the only way for people to join is by invitation. They have to have access to a link or an email that you send them. They tells them the course exists and you have access to it. Right? If it is private, it just means people have to ask permission. They have to request access before they can join. Right? And you have the opportunity to accept them or reject them, deny or accept them into the class. Public just means anybody can find it, anybody can join. We have not addressed whether there's a payment or not. Okay? At this stage, you don't need to determine that. You can determine later if you're going to charge for access or have it free, or as you see here at the bottom, token gated. Okay? Token gated, if you don't understand it, don't worry about it. It's another medium for entry. Okay? It's like its own kind of money. We're gonna, the payment situation, you can all set that up and decide all of that later. Right now, we're just going to create the space. And honestly, you can actually have multiple payments, levels of payment. You can have free and paid. It just depends who you share which links with. So these are all the features that various templates have automatically turned on or off. Now Build Your Own has them all turned off automatically. If we turn all of them on, it will look like this. Okay? And when you turn something on, a feature on in your space, there will become a manage button will appear for that. Chat is a direct conversation with other members in the space. Feed is their personalized content for this space. Only for this space. There's a, wherever they go and they see a feed, it is personalized for the user. Okay? Members, if this is turned on, they'll be able to see who all the members in the class are. Events, you'll use this especially if you're doing a class that you're teaching live. Okay? Maybe every Monday night at 7 p.m. you have a class. You'll schedule those as events and people will come to them as events inside of your class. You might have a single event that, I'll just read the blurb here, highlight a single event using a full page display. Perfect for a standalone event or for promoting a main event alongside a series or conference. Okay, so this is a standalone thing. They come to a one-time thing, or you can use it as like the keynote speaker or to promote some other series that's going on. Because this is inside of your course, you would be promoting the series that's your class. Unless you have a one-time class, and maybe you do a 2-hour seminar, you can promote that as a one-time event. Discovery is like my favorite feature. We wouldn't be using this platform at all, except that it has this awesome discovery feature, which the main component to me is what's nearby. I don't think this is a huge value. Well, there are lots and lots of values, but one of the main features, if you are like a local congregation, then you want people to be able to find you locally, right? We can have users all over the world or all over the city, but if they can't tell where you're located, that you're nearby, you may need somebody, faith leader for a funeral or a wedding or something, and they need to show up physically. It doesn't help if you find a faith leader in Alaska and you're in Mexico, right? You need to be able to be in the same space, ideally without having to do that much traveling. So discovery will help you find people with similar interests, help you find the interest groups, help you find people, help you find faith groups, help you find any kind of group. If you want to go rock climbing, you might be able to find a rock climbing group. This table of contents feature is the course building feature. Okay, so if you have a course, it has this turned on. We'll spend more time inside of this manage button soon. A page feature is just a blank page, and you'll see blank pages when you're building things regularly. Okay? It just means you can insert pictures, videos, content, you can edit the text, you can make it bold, italics, all of that sort of thing. Highlights, indents, left justify, change the font, change the color. links, yada, yada, yada. Highlighted hashtags. So I referenced that we use hashtags for searching and finding and grouping items. This allows you as the creator of this space to name some of the hashtags that are most important. A feature display order. So above are all the features. If you click on this, you can change the order in which they're displayed. Okay, by default, it puts feed first. Whatever is at the top here is going to be the default landing feature space inside of your class. Okay, so what I was saying before is if you are doing a content course, you want this to be first. For a cohort course, they're going to put the feed first because the feed allows you to interact with your classmates. They might also have put this chat up here, either at the top, okay, maybe second, but these relational interactions with people are a higher priority in a cohort class. Cohorts are your classmates than a content course. Okay. All right, and I'm going to move events up as well. This is the single event. I'm going to turn some of these off because we don't really need all of them on. But as we changed all of that content, these tabs appeared. And then when we reordered them, the order changed. Okay, so if I click on table of contents, you can see there's no course material here yet. Okay. This overview provides a template that you can revise. You can change the pictures, add pictures. Again, this was a blank page when it started, but they gave you all this content by default. It is the same for every space when it begins. The only thing that changes is they insert the name of your course throughout this overview, this letter. Okay. You can see the title appears throughout the text. Okay. You can delete the whole thing and start from scratch, or you can use what they have put here. Okay. This is literally the exact same text in every space when it begins. I'll click on cancel and exit out of here. Once you've revised that, you can make this visible. It can toggle right now. It's this little eyeball with a slash through it indicates that it is hidden. It is not visible to anybody but you and other administrators. This is a little bit counterintuitive to me. The lesson and sections. Okay. Section is actually the larger, higher level name, and a subsection of sections is a lesson. So it's like college where you have a section, right? So you have a section that meets Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You have a Monday section, a Wednesday section, and you have a Friday section. And you might have 2 lessons on Monday. Okay. So lessons are subsections of section. It's a little section to me seems like a small size. A lesson seems like a big thing to me. So I'm going to change some of these names. I don't like table of contents, so I'm going to change that, and I'm going to change this section. So I'm going to go into the settings, features. This is where we were before. I'm going to scroll down to the table of contents. I'm going to click on manage. And now I can change the names. Okay, that table of contents, drop-down menu gives me these options right away, or I can choose a custom name. I like course material just fine, so I'm going to change it to course material. Lessons I'm okay with, but the section thing is a little confusing to me. And these really aren't better options to me. So the section, they allow you to choose chapter. Lessons gives you alternatives of seminar or part, or you can add a custom name. I'm going to leave lessons, but for sections, I'm going to add a custom name, and I'm going to change this to my class only meets once a week. So I'm going to say singular week, a week, sections. I'm going to make weeks plural. I'm going to go back and make that. I'm going to make these all lowercase. Your weeks. And then I'm going to save it when I'm done. I'll show you these options at the bottom first. You can change the content preview to on or off, toggle on or off. It explains that right here. Display the table of contents to non-members so they can get a preview of what reading the Bible in Hebrew offers. Additionally, you can allow previewing of section and lesson content by going to each section or lesson setting page. Okay. The setting page, we'll see that. And obviously we just are changing the name of lesson and section, or at least section. Okay, but we've changed that up here to weeks. And I'm going to click save. And now we take a look. Table of contents changed to course material, and section changed to week. Overviews still there. So in week 1, I'm going to click on add week. Click on new week, edit this. Yes, I should have capitalized it. Go ahead when you do that and just capitalize. Week 1, and just save the title with no content. Okay, and then I'm going to add the lesson in week 1. I'm going to add multiple lessons just so we can see. We should do it like this. Week 1 lesson. Content. And when you hit enter, you get this, you can hover and get this plus sign, and it lets you add videos, photos, files, PDFs, anything you want to add here. Video links, you can embed content, bullet points, etc. And have this divider. You can paste in a YouTube video or an MP4 video. You see this light gray text and tracked video URL. You can use YouTube or an MP4 video for tracked video. If it's other video, it'll just jump over to standard video. And the only difference is the YouTube video or an MP4. An MP4 is the most basic format for video. So if you've got just a video that's an MP4 off of your computer that you want to upload, no problem, or link to it, that's no problem. But really the only difference for any other kind of video, say you're using Vimeo or some other video hosting service, YouTube, it can't track that other video. And all they mean by tracked is a tracked video. I'm going to read this. Adding a tracked video to your lesson gives you the option to use the video completion criteria which requires all members to finish watching at least 90% of the video before moving on to the next lesson. So this will make more sense as I show you some of the options ahead. But YouTube can be tracked, and you can force people to watch 90% of the video. Okay. So I'm just going to click on Save now that I've got this video here inside of lesson 1. And you can change all kinds of information in here. But what I want to show you right away is for this lesson with this video, right, everything is hidden, invisible, until you mark it as visible. Okay. This lesson 1, people can see it. It is unlocked with no restrictions right now. If I change it to sequential, then they would have to do the previous lessons first. There's no previous lesson, but there's a previous week is what we labeled it. Okay, so and I'm not sure if the overview counts in this, so they might need to, if you chose sequential, they might have to open the overview first, then week 1, and then only then would they be allowed to open week 1, lesson 1. You can set it up so that it opens after a certain amount of days, but again, as the first item, that doesn't make sense, or you could schedule it to open on a date and time. This is what I wanted to show you right away while we're still thinking about that tracked video. Lesson 1 is not complete until we have these options. You can have no restrictions on it. People can jump from lesson to lesson. They can jump to this lesson as the very first place they go, no problem. This lesson is complete because they clicked on it and opened it. That's all they have to do is open it. So if it's a screen, it covers like 5 screens, and they don't scroll down to the bottom, they only click and open it, and they see the first screen. That counts as having read and consumed and understanding all of the content. If you click on button, it'll put a button at the bottom of that page that says mark as complete. Okay, so they have some ownership that they've at least scrolled to the bottom of the page and clicked that button before they're allowed to go on to subsequent content. In the case of the video, which we do have a video, okay, if it's a YouTube video or an MP4, then it can be tracked. Members must watch the tracked video in this lesson in order to complete it. So that's the advantage of having YouTube or MP4. And these are the other options that you can edit. You can turn the comments on or off on any given lesson. You can change the thumbnail to a custom one and upload a different picture. You can leave what is already pre-selected as not allow people to preview, okay? Or you can change this per lesson. Okay? So you can have 3 that are turned on and 4 that are turned off, or all on or all off, any combination thereof. And this is what it's going to look like. This lesson is going to look like in the members view. Okay. So you could hear it dinging every time I made a change. It was saving those changes. We just came out of this, managing those lessons. And when I click on this, they'll be able to watch it right here. They'll be able to change the speed at which they watch, full screen, and this is alerting them that it's a tracked video, so they need to watch 90% of it. This is why I prefer the button, because maybe this person is an expert in the content that you're sharing, and they don't need to watch your 90% of your video or read all 5 screens of your text. They're responsible for it, right? They've claimed that they understand it, but they're maybe looking for content that you've put farther down into the lesson that is new to them, but the rest of the content really isn't new to them. So it gives them agency and control and ability to learn strategically, read strategically, watch strategically, and that's respectful of them. So for week 1, I got 1 lesson. I could add another lesson. Clicked on it, and click on edit. not really going to spend much time, but this is week 1, lesson 2. Content, save, and you can add another lesson. And when they're taking the course, they'll see this as well, and they'll be able to navigate forward and backward. So I'm going to click out here. But instead of adding another lesson to week 1, I'm going to add the content for week 2. And you would do the same thing with week 2, but however many lessons you have, so you can structure with a larger category and then subcategories for your lessons. You'll have to decide what makes sense for you and how to structure it. If you want to add that you're going to have these live courses, live meeting times, then you would be able to set that up here in events. Create event, okay, and it'll walk you through adding that content. You can set it up with Zoom, or in these with these other mediums. Very doable. Decide whether you want to have them RSVP. You can put a video in here as sort of selling the content of your event. I say selling, marketing, promoting, saying, hey, this is why this is worthwhile. Here's why you want to do this. Your description of the event. Okay? It's just a class in this context. Well, I shouldn't say just a class. It's your class. It's amazing. And it's very, very important, which is why I'm hoping that you'll teach this class. All right. That's it. And I should say, once you teach a class or offer a class now, the on-demand stuff, you can duplicate classes. So maybe you have a class that you teach every month, okay? And maybe it meets live. Okay, so if you have a January class and there are 10 or 15 people in that class, and then you go teach that class again in February, you can just duplicate literally. So if I go into this Hebrew Bible, need to remember where that button is. So in order to duplicate this class, you just go where these 3 little dots are. Right, go down to more at the bottom, and you can duplicate the class, and it'll sort of coach you on whether you want to bring comments with you or not from the previous class. Let's just do that really quickly. It'll caution you when you duplicate a space, you'll notice some changes. What will copy and what will not? No, sounds like our cat is hungry. Okay. So I want to duplicate all of the host and moderator posts, okay, because they are probably questions or prompts, okay. You'll get notified when the space is duplicated. Success. Reading the Bible in Hebrew has been duplicated. That took maybe 10 seconds. So if I go back to the February course and make sure what we really want to happen is that the January course is secret, and now the February course is public or private or paid, but it's no longer secret. People can find it, okay? It could be secret the whole time, but if it was public, you'd want to make the one that's no longer active or future, if it's in the past and it just exists for the people who took the course to be able to continue their connection together, that permanence, that enduring quality is fabulous. So if they have a wonderful experience and they get to know each other and build those relationships, then they can continue to stay connected. They don't need to go form another group either inside of Kind Humans or on Zoom or in Facebook or something else, someplace else. They can continue to, they could continue to meet, they could continue to have events. It exists like it's their own private clubhouse. So that connection stays there. And if 2 years later, one of them has something that's special to share with that particular group, they just go back to that group and share it. It's still visible to the people that took the class. It's just invisible to everybody else. All right. So many advantages, so many features. Not super complicated. I highly, highly suggest using this as a place to teach your classes. You can charge, you don't have to charge. You can put your ministry here and use your courses to promote and attract people to your ministry. Your ministry can be a church, it can be almost anything. It just needs to be healthy, safe, kind, inclusive. If you feel called to supporting people on their spiritual journey in any way, shape, or form, whatever way that spirituality looks, if it is healthy, we want you to be able to do that here. We want people to learn about what you know. Will you share your teaching? Will you share your wisdom? I hope that you will.